The Speyside Way is one of Scotland's great trails. At 137 kilometres long, it runs between Buckie and Newtonmore. Known for its scenic beauty, the trail takes you through the Speyside region, famous for whisky distilleries, riverside paths, woodlands, and historic landmarks. It offers a diverse and immersive experience combining nature, culture, and a touch of Scotland's whisky heritage. Fastpacking is a blend of trail running and ultralight backpacking. My intention was to fastpack the Speyside Way in no more than 48 hours. Hi, I'm Jez, and having purchased a Speyside Way trail map a few months ago, I felt the need to run it. While most would opt for the long, warm days of summer, I, in my infinite wisdom, chose one of the shortest days of the year, right in the middle of December. Embarking on this adventure, I used public transport to get from Aviemore to Buckie, my starting point for the trail, where the small grassy park serves as the starting point. This is the start of the Speyside Way. Saturday morning, 11:30, 137 kilometres to go. Armed with provisions for 2 days on the trail and enough gear to bivvy overnight, I was ready to embrace the challenge and rewards that the winter trail had in store for me. This won't be the first time I've attempted to complete a national long-distance path, but I've yet to complete one. On this pleasant, mild, mid-December day, a brisk breeze greeted me, presenting a headwind from the start of the route. Despite the initial gusts, the forecast offered a relatively optimistic outlook, promising clear skies, at least until my anticipated arrival in Aviemore. While I didn't spot any seals during my run along the coastline, luck was on my side as I glimpsed a couple from the bus while heading into Buckie to the start of the trail. I made the decision to tackle the trail from Buckie on the coast starting at sea level to Newtonmore at 250 metres above sea level. A seemingly gentle gradient considering the route followed the general line of the Spey Valley, but there were still a number of short, steep ascents. For navigation, I relied on the Harvey 1:40,000 Speyside Way trail map, complemented by following the abundant trail markers. While the route boasts excellent signage, I always prefer having a map in hand to know my exact location on the trail. The map proved invaluable, allowing me to gauge both the distance covered and, more crucially, how far I still had to go. I've been going for about 1.5 hours now, trying to keep a steady pace. I know that I've only got about 4 hours of daylight today, Saturday, because I started quite late, and it's going to start getting dark around 3:45, 4 o'clock. So trying to make as good progress as I can, but not too fast, just keeping it slow and steady. And then obviously I'll probably be a bit slower as soon as it gets dark. I was fully equipped for 2 days in the countryside in mid-December. Full waterproofs, thermals, sleeping bag, bivvy bag, and the rest of the kit any responsible runner would pack for such an adventure. My pack weighed in at 8.5 kilos. There's a link to my full kit list in the description below. I packed approximately 6,000 calories worth of food and snacks, along with the capacity to carry 1 litre of liquid, complemented by a water filter for refilling my bottles. The key was relying on frequent water supplies along the route. Despite the trail tracing the banks of the River Spey for most of the journey, attempting to refill directly from there wasn't an option. The steep banks and the prospect of accessing it at night could have put an abrupt end to my trip. Instead, I counted on finding small, unpolluted streams alongside the trail to meet my hydration needs. River Spey just down to the right hand side. Can't actually see it, but you've got the big Spey Valley there on a nice quiet back road at the moment. Just a few more kilometres along here. I've done the last 4 or 5 kilometres. I've been on this road, and shortly I'll be back off the road
and onto forest tracks. Ah, yes, downhill at last. Three o'clock in the afternoon, so we're going about 3.5 hours, and now it's time to get some water.
The trail had been relatively quiet, with only a handful of dog walkers. Not a soul that seemed to be embarking on the entire trail. Perhaps these sensible people had stayed at home.
Okay, I've done about 38 kilometres and I can't see where I'm going, so I'm about to stop and get my head torch out and sort myself out into night mode. Night mode ready, got my reflective vest on, got my head torch out, and I've even got a light on my GoPro. So a bit more food and I'm off.
It was now 5:30 p.m. The fading light had hindered my ability to read the map for the past 5 kilometres. Fortunately, the trail was well signposted, alleviating any navigation concerns. Having passed through the village of Charleston of Aberlour, solitude became my companion, as I didn't see anyone else for another 4.5 hours.
Okay, so crossing the River Spey. First time to be on the other side so far on this trip, and I haven't got a clue where we are because I haven't really been following on the map. I'm just following the signs at the moment and I'm blinding myself with the light, but that was the River Spey. Just gone past 50 kilometres and there's not a lot out here except for distilleries. I've been out of water for a very long time looking for someone to fill up, and I just can hear a little stream just over there, so gotta fill up. I've also been walking for a while because I've been quite tired and need some liquid in me, so I'll try and get as much water in as I can, rehydrate and see if I can start trotting again. Just crossed over the River Spey again, and I'll have to look at the map. I haven't got a clue where we are, but I'll probably write it on screen where I am and how far I've run. And I've been going for almost 8 hours, enjoying every minute of it.
A side spur diverges from the main Speyside Way, leading to Tomintoul, a 48-kilometre round trip. At this point, I found myself grappling with the enormity of my decision to cover the standard 137-kilometre trail. Consequently, this additional side trip wasn't even on my radar. At 9 p.m, I entered a section that online guides boldly proclaim as probably the hardest section of the route, with numerous gradients, rough and sometimes wet ground. I was tiring by this point, compelling me to transition into a fast walk. The darkness cast a perceptible slowdown of my pace, and what seemed like a mere kilometre on the map felt like a prolonged journey in the blustery conditions. By this point, my acknowledgement that I had no off switch became apparent. I had the urge to press on without stopping for the night, relentlessly pushing towards Aviemore. Despite my determination, this section of the trail, compounded by dehydration and a reluctance to consume more sugary foods, was taking its toll. By 10 PM, I phoned my wife to update her on my location and asked her to look up local bus services. She informed me the next service wasn't until 9 the following morning from Granton-on-Spey. My enthusiasm for the trail continued to wane for the next 30 minutes as I approached a small back road that intersected the trail. I was surprised to see a 4x4 waiting on the roadside. The two guys in the vehicle had spotted my head torch bobbing across the hillside and stopped to check on my well-being. Astonished to learn of my endeavour to run the Speyside Way, and recognising that I had been at it for the past 11 hours, covering 68 kilometres from Buckie, they could see the exhaustion etched on my face and offered to drive me back to Aviemore. With a grateful smile on my face, I told them I was a quitter and accepted their kind offer. The remainder of the Speyside Way would have to wait for another day.